because we have two documents from the same department, we have agreed as a committee that we are going to use both. We are going to use both. But now, when we are making reference to a certain page, the person making reference will quote the page in the other document and the corresponding page in the other document. So those are the issues that we have agreed as a committee, so that we can proceed on with the session. So I'm sure that you have been given a copy of the other document. You have been given. So you will just be referring when you quote, because the two documents are both with us, you quote the page in the other one and the corresponding page in the other document. So maybe, honorable members, I will now allow. Do you have any issue? Waziri, any request? Any request if you have?
Yes, we have a request. Head of supply chain can go on record by making the request.
Okay. Proceed.
Thank you, Chair. I think we request to get another copy of this document from your secretariat, kindly.
The other document that it was within the assembly. So, Sergeant, please, can you provide a copy of the same to the... Okay. Thank you. So we can proceed. Honorable members, let us proceed with the session. Honorable Bit.
Thank you, Chair. And just want, as we proceed, I just have a reminder to all of us, and particularly to the CEC. Just want to read a portion of Section 96 of County Government Act. 96 on the County Government Act on access to information, Chair. And let me read it, Chair, if you allow. That every Kenyan citizen shall, on request, have access to information held by any county government or any unit or department thereof, or any other state organ in accordance with Article 35 of the Constitution. Every county government and its agency shall designate an officer for purposes of ensuring access to information as required by subsection 1.
Chair, I don't seem to have that. 96?
County Government Act.
Oh, okay, proceed.
Yes. Chair, it was just for the information for the officers that are before us today, that right to information is guaranteed in the Constitution and the County Government Act. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Maybe we now proceed, honorable members. Let us proceed with the interrogations. Honorable Kogo.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. My questions to the officers, specifically to Waziri. Waziri, are you the custodian of the county assets? And it should be yes or no through the chair as I proceed.
Yes.
Is it a yes or no, Waziri?
Chair, the county treasury is the custodian of the county assets, and we work through delegation or rather designation of accounting officers. Section 153 of the PFM Act provides that when I designate, part of the responsibilities the accounting officers do is to take care of the county assets within them, within the departments.
Thank you, Chair. And do you have fixed as a registrar?
Yes, we do.
what does it contain, and maybe who is managing those assets? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Management of the assets are bestowed upon the accounting officers within the department. The asset registers are many, depending on the kind of asset. They contain details specific to the assets themselves. For example, the motor vehicle asset register, which is called the movable assets registers, will contain the MEC, the registration number, the value, purchase value, the depreciated value, the net book value, and so like it's an elaborate sort of register which captures many other aspects of this. We have other registers like the non-movable assets, like the land. It will contain the LR number, the location, the value, whether it's developed or not, the status, and it has even a remarks whether we have encumbrances against that asset, and so forth. So, in a nutshell, many details are contained in an asset register. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Maybe I'll ask as we proceed other questions. Thank
Okay, Honorable Keter.
Thank you, Chair. Mine is now, since we have the CC Finance, according to the report that it was supplied to everyone from the Auditor General or government entity, it shows that all the monies has been sent back to this county government, and 100% was observed, 100%. And now when we are walking around, we still have some contractors or people with pending bills. How could that happen after you received all the money that it was budgeted for all disbursement from the national government to this county? Do we still have contractors whom you have not paid after receiving the disbursement?
Okay, maybe for guidance, Waziri, so that you answer the question by Honorable Keter. First, you will have to confirm whether you've received all the disbursement for the last financial year from the National Treasury.
Yes, Chair, we have received.
Okay, you can now proceed to answer the question by Keter.
Yeah, so that you can answer all together. Also, I'm interested, Chair, to know the type, how do you prioritize your payment? Which criteria do you use to pay one after the other one? It has to come clear, Chair, so that we know the criteria you are using when you are paying the contractors.
Waziri.
Thank you, Chair. So, as to whether we still have other contractors owing us, yes, we do have. The reason is we received the last disbursement for last year, which was supposed to come in June, we received in July. It therefore means that items we would have paid using those resources have to be paid in this financial year, and that we needed to put them in the supplementary, in the budget, that is. And therefore, they still owe us, and we will settle them of course, we will settle them as per the budget that we have now made. Chair, what we have done again, through the regulation of the control of budget, a schedule of all pending bills have been submitted to the COB, capturing which month's exchequer release are we going to use to pay a particular bill. They have been aged depending on their time of completion of works. As to the criteria of deciding to pay, we at finance, we clear payments. The originators of the payments are the departments. Ideally, upon completion of works and an invoice is issued by a contractor, that will trigger then the flow of works towards payment. And so it should be fast pay, fast to complete, fast to be paid. That will be the ideal situation. Thank you, Chair.
Chair, on that, so that I rest my case, Chair. So, as a Department of Finance, what have you done so that you make sure fast in, fast out. What are some of the measures that you have in your department? Because now you are the one paying. Because mostly to know whether this one has come first or second, what is the measurement you have put? If that is the case, fast come, fast in.
Chair, for the works, for the pending bills, it is purely the schedule of work of payment plan that we have submitted to the COB guides us. We cannot admit a bill that comes early and in the schedule it should be paid in the next month, for example. But for other normal bills accruing on a day-to-day basis, our tools, the tools that we use to manage the affairs of the public in the county and across actually the whole nation is that we have circulars we issue as county treasury on budget implementation. So those guidelines, similar to the ones issued by the National Treasury, will ordinarily speak to the affairs and the running, and including management and payments of works done to specific accounting officers and copied to the heads of department who are actually the CECMs. So such circulars, and from time to time, should anything change, then we issue those circulars to the departments.
Maybe last, Chair, so that I rest my case. Do you have mode of communication like that when a contractor or a service provider has submitted all the documents as per requirement? Do you normally communicate in case when the money delays or when someone is expecting? Do you have a mode of communicating to those people?
Not a structured one. They will ordinarily contact the accounting officers within the department and they will be informed on the status of their payments. So we do not have like a structured communication that is standardized.
Thank you, Chair. I rest my case.
Honorable Bet, then Honorable Tololei, followed by Tufosa, then we shall go to Honorable Bet from Capital Kamoyu.
Thank you, Chair. My question is, as you are all aware, Wasiri and the CEO, the responsibility of this house is to appropriate and approve money. And in the financial year 2023-24, the Department of Sports, Tourism and Talent Development spent 4 million shillings in buying of curtains. And the same amount was not appropriated by this house. Can you tell us, in such a situation, where you sit as a chief officer and the CEC Finance, what criteria, without approval of this house, can a department allocate and spend money that there was no approval by this house? Could you kindly share us some information on this particular item?
The Chief Officer will take that, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Member, through the Chair, on the concern on an expenditure under Department of Sports. Honorable Member has said has mentioned the financial year 23-24. I guess it should be 22-23.
22-23, Chair,
yes,
sorry.
Yes. Financial year 22-23, the Department of Sports was allocated funds through the approved budget and appropriated by this county assembly. I think that concern came and we discussed with the department. When the first budget was approved and appropriated by this county assembly, the department had an allocation of 8 million that was meant to operationalize the Kipchoge Stadium. I believe it refers to the Eliud Kipchoge Sports Complex, the curtains and the partitioning. At the supplementary level, if you check at the supplementary financial year 22-23, an additional allocation of 13 million was added to the department to address 4 or 5 programs to operationalize the facility, being one of the flagship projects we have at the county government and the first one to be operationalized. So when 13 million was added under supplementary, it became a total of 21 million, and it was to cover 4 or 5 programs to operationalize the facility. One being the equipping of the hostels that are currently operational. Second one was the equipping of the conference, which we hold all of us hold meetings there. It is operational, and also the offices for service delivery, and moved the department, the chief officer, the CEC, and other technical officers to the facility. The other element was the landscaping of the field, a track field that is being used by our athletes. And the fourth one was that the partitioning and fixing the curtains of the building. So it was appropriated under supplementary in financial year 22-23. It was not in the main budget, but at the supplementary level. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Now that she has confirmed that it was in the supplementary budget, was it advertised? That tender, was it advertised?
Yes, I want to believe it was sourced competitively. I can leave that to head of supply chain to confirm that.
Can he then respond, Chair? Was it?
Thank you, Chair. The scope of work as described by CEO were within the thresholds of quotations, and they were issued as quotations with respect to the various bills of quantities provided by the department.
When was it done? Could you be having? Could you provide us with the bidders through RFQs?
During that period after approval of supplementary,
yes,
we can provide the details of the bidders.
Thank you.
Chair. So, Honorable, I had guided that Honorable Tololei to follow, then Honorable Tufosa, then we come back there.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, and allow me to pose this question to Waziri before I continue with some of the, maybe one or two questions. Now, and I might need a yes or no answer. Who are ward administrators in a devolved government, Honorable Waziri? Just answer that and then I make.
Ward administrators, they are public officers whose offices are established by the County Government Act, of course the Constitution itself, and who are based within the ward, and their responsibilities cut across the functions within that area, including coordination of activities of a county government within the ward.
And are they entitled to office imprest and airtime from your department?
Every public officer is entitled as long as it is within the law.
So when do you think was the last time they signed for the imprest?
I am not sure, because I don't receive their requests for imprest. They are forwarded to the departmental accounting officers. For them, it is the Department of Administration where they fall.
Now, so they don't benefit from your department, from the finance?
They benefit from their department, but we coordinate for them. We clear what has been forwarded from their department. Their budget is within their department.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, do they benefit now? Like there was some time where they were supposed to have laptops, the imprest and the airtime. Are they still getting it to date?
Like I said, Chair, I'm not sure. You know, if a public officer has any inadequacies or rather challenges in executing their duty, they report the matter to the department. It will only come to us for purposes of coordinating and making that payment. Honestly, I've also dealt with them during public participation. They have been open enough to tell me when they have challenges, but in matter of laptops and in the matter of imprest, unless when we are doing public participation, which we do coordinate now from our department of our unit for M&D, where we know we have facilitated them directly to make arrangements for public participation. Any other imprest I cannot confirm now.
Thank you. Let me go to my questioner. What is the contract sum of the following? I think you will note them down, then you will answer it later. What is the contract sum of the following projects? Its status, I'm asking of the contract sum, the status of implementation and payment status. The status of implementation and the payment status of the following projects to date. Number one is the County Aggregation and Industrial Park. Number two is construction of Governor's Building. Number three is construction of Mother and Child Hospital at County Referral Hospital. Construction of Cooperative Creameries Processing Plant at Kabiet. Construction of Chepterwai Sub-County Hospital. And finally, Eliud Kipchoge Sports Complex. And maybe after answering the questions is when I will continue. Thank you.
Waziri.
Chair, I will respond to some, and then my officers here will also pick some. I want to, without any order, allow me to start with NCC, the creameries. For the creameries, Chair, for those of us who have been there, you have seen the building. A very huge investment by the county government meant to support our farmers. It had two kinds of works. One was the civil works, the construction of the structure itself. And secondly was the equipment supply for the processing of milk in that unit, the plant itself. So, Chair, for the civil works, it was in 3 phases. That is the construction. Phase 1, the contract sum was 19,845,131, and that is fully paid. Phase 2 was 67,753,818. In the phase 2 of it, Chair, there was a variation of 15,878,716, bringing that phase 2 figure to 83,632,534. We have a phase 3 of it, which is 64,750,673. What has been paid, phase 2, the entire of it has been paid. Phase 3, only 56 million has been paid. So there is a balance. That is for the construction. During the construction,
So
the additional works.
Waziri, let me interject. What is the total amount paid for the construction?
I am yet to finish, Chair, kindly. Allow me that there is additional works on that construction, totaling 32 million, and out of it, 14 million has been paid. To operationalize the NCC, there was
Is that a variation, Waziri?
the variation was 15 million.
15 million.
Yeah, for phase 2. Chair.
So what about these additional works?
Additional works, the engineers within the department quantified the external works, and they have technical information about it. That is 32 million. To operationalize it, Chair, a further allocation was done by the county assembly at 15 million, out of which 4.8 has been paid. The total works, therefore, for construction, the civil works, is 215,228,338.
215?
228,338. What has been paid of them, you see, I was speaking in phases, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. The total cumulative paid is 178,277,665.
170?
178,277,665. We have a balance of 36,950,673. Chair, that is for construction. For the supply of the equipment.
Chair, maybe before we move in that, what was actual construction of that?
I think, Honorable Member, allow Waziri to first finish with the issues raised by Honorable Tololei, you just note down your concern and then we shall proceed.
Thank you, Chair.
Is this the copies for the, you've been given? Okay.
So for the, that is for the construction of the structure. Then we have for the supply of the equipment. The phase one of it was 118,698,347. 118,698,347. The phase two of it, 131,245,684. 131,245,684, Chair. Then we have a phase three of it. The phase three was funded both by the county funds and the World Bank funds through NARIC. So the county funds were 59,300,000. And the program funding was 96,673,444.
26 million?
96,673,444. Chair, the cumulative totals for the for the construction that I mentioned earlier is 215, and then for the supplies is at 405. You see, we have the county government funding and the NARIC funding. So for the equipment, what came from the county funds is 177,998,347 for the equipment. And then what was funded through the program, World Bank funded program of NARIC, is 227,919,128. That brings the one for the supply of the equipment to a total of 405.
Can you repeat, Waziri? You are somehow too fast on these figures. Total for the equipment is 177?
Total for the equipment from
Yes.
the county funded allocation, 177,998,347. NARIC funded or World Bank funded 227,919,128. Cumulative for the equipment 405,917,475. Cumulative for the equipment, that is 405,917,475. So the sum total for that works, the construction and including the equipment up to and including operationalization, is at 621,145,813. In terms of the status of these works, Chair, the works for the NCC is actually done. What is remaining is the commissioning. What was pending there was the issue of power, the cabling, and a unique sort of the power that was required to operate in that plant, and that has been done. Now what is remaining then is commissioning. I think the issue of structuring it around the operational model of it, how will it operate, and then the issue of now of making it operational in terms of the technical staff that are required and the day-to-day activities. That is it.
Have you been there, Waziri? Personally, have you been there?
I've been there, Chair, more than once.
And maybe if I get it right, 621,145,813 is the total money to date that has been paid towards that project.
Not paid, but allocated. Because we still have outstanding of that 6 million. We still have, under the various options that I read, various categories, we still have balances. But that is the figure that was allocated to that project. So
what about what has been paid to date?
What is outstanding what is outstanding, I think it is easier to read from this other end. What is outstanding is 36 million. We have, for additional works, 14 million is outstanding. For operational, out of the 15, only 4.8 has been paid, so outstanding of about 10 million, and 36 million for the works, for the civil works. So 36 and 14 and 10. I can do that quickly and give you a clear picture later on. But those are the figures that are outstanding, about 52 million.
Okay. Tolole. Mheshimiwa had some issues, a number of projects, eh? You've just talked of one. We still have...
Yes, of course.
We still have around 4 of them, eh?
Chair, as
yes,
as Mheshimiwa Tolole proceeds to another project, I would want to know on the structure, the contract sum, and the variation percent in terms of percentage that has been done. The actual contract sum, and whether it was design and build, whether there was an open tender. Could you shed some light on this?
Chair, we can respond to that. My team can respond to that later. Maybe I can pick up the second item as they prepare to respond to those variations, if you allow.
Vice Chair, if we can dispose of the issue of NCC, so that we can move to the next question.
Oh, okay. Well guided, eh? So let us do away with the issue of NCC so that we proceed. Maybe this head of supply chain, the honorable members are asking, what was the actual contract sum for that project? What is the other concern? And the variations?
All right, thank you, Chair and honorable members. As Waziri has indicated, the phase 1, the contract sum was 19,845,131, and there was no variation on that contract. The second phase of the building works is 67,753,818, and there is a variation of 15 million.
Could you kindly please, through the chair, be loud? You are saying the actual contract sum was how much?
67,753,818.
The first one?
That's phase 2. First one is 19 million.
Beyond the mic. And yeah.
Okay, sorry. So phase 1, I've indicated it's 19,845,131. That is on the building. And the phase 2 is 67,753,818, and that is the phase that had a variation that was approved by the department of 15,878,716. So I think the honorable member had asked about the actual contract sum and the variation amounts, which I have indicated. The last phase is 67,740,673, and we don't have a variation on that last phase, Chair. Thank you.
So what was the total actual contract sum in total?
I think Waziri has read out those exact figures.
Not for the entire, for structure alone.
For the structure,
I'm asking you.
I can respond, Chair. I have the figures here.
It is directed to the procurement.
They are the same things, Chair, honestly, and I have read them.
Waziri, you are out of order, Waziri. Allow the questions to be answered.
Unless
so
you want to work.
You know, Waziri, when you start answering on behalf.
I apologize, Chair.
Yes.
My apologies.
You leave the questions to be answered by the person.
I just find it is repetitive, really, because I have read the same things, and they are being.
Are you the procurement officer?
Chair, my apologies, but I can come in aid of my officers anytime.
Only the one directed by the chair.
Now, maybe let me guide it. When you don't have the exact information, you can request through the chair so that we don't have this interference, please.
Okay, well guided, Chair. So as I've indicated, the total contract sum of phase 1, 2, and 3 is the summation of the figures that I have read out, including the variation of 15 million. So that's 19, 8, 45, 131, 67.
Could you kindly use the mic?
I'm using, sorry, I don't know. So the total contract sum of the three phases you have asked, Honorable Member, is phase 1, 19, 845, 131.
Are you able to sum up?
Yes, I am. If
Could
you just
you,
give
please?
Me. Okay. Okay, just give me a minute, I confirm.
Chair, can I be proceeding on something else? It's the only thing that's left there.
Chair. Yes, have you answered the total figures? Head of procurement, or let me allow Waziri to give the total figures and then we proceed.
It is, for the construction of works, it is 215,228,338. For the supply of the equipment, it is 405,917.
Equipment first, because I was particular on the structure.
Yes, that is it.
So you are saying 228, 215, 228, 215 million?
338.
Okay. So to the procurement officer, rather head of supply chain, was it design and build? And was it a competitive tender? Now that this is a mega project, can you tell us more about this?
Thank you, Chair. This was done through open tender, and the contract sums that have been indicated was just for the building. I did not see any design part in the tender documents. So this is for the construction under the phases indicated.
It was an open tender, right?
Yes, it was an open tender.
Was it tendered?
Yes, in the dailies, open tender is done through competitive bidding.
Okay.
Yes.
What was the name of the company that was awarded?
The name of the company is Miliki.
Put on the, now on the structure, right? It is Miliki.
On the building, it's Miliki. On the equipment, it's a different company.
Okay.
Yes.
So far, what you've paid, and you've paid. There's a question that I want to ask. On this structure is sitting on a land that was a government land. It was initially where this structure, the initial structure before extension sits on, was a cattle dip, a land owned by county government of Nandi, right?
I cannot confirm that, Chair.
You cannot confirm?
Yeah, those are
before you procure
yes.
a project, you mean you can procure a project without knowing where that project will sit on?
The description of the project is done at the departmental level through the
at
chair.
Your level as head of procurement. Maybe I can direct to head of finance then, if you are not aware of it. CC Finance, before you procure any service, especially on structures, do you carry out some due diligence on the land ownership? Or you just say, advertise, procure, and start build even in a private land, public land, government land? Who owns the land that NCC sits on, the initial land?
Chair, yes, there's a requirement for due diligence in any works, not just procurement. But then, I earlier on indicated that these works, the scope of that kind of work is designated to the department accounting officer. They are in charge of that procurement process, the entire of it. All those nitty-gritties as to the status of the land, up to and including the awards, they sign the awards. They appoint the committees. So ours is...
I'm just asking, you know, you are the custodian of government assets, right? It is within your jurisdiction, all government assets.
Yes, Chair.
You are. Thank you. Who owns the land that NCC sits on, where the first structure before extension was done? Who owns that particular land?
Chair, I might need to confirm that because there are many parcels of land in the county. I may need
I'm particular, you know you are in charge.
I might need to confirm that, Chair. And I think there's no problem with requesting to confirm.
Are you aware there was a cattle dip?
I'm not aware. That's why I want to confirm.
You are not aware? Thank you.
Chair.
Okay,
So that
maybe
before, so that we don't go back to repeat what honorable members has asked. I was only concerned during the structural. We were told by the witness that it was in phases. So my area of concern, it is the second phase. You say the second phase costed how much?
Chair, 67,753,818.
That was the second phase,
Yes.
as per the plan.
Yes.
What was the variation?
The amount for variations, 15,878,716.
So in terms of percentage, what is the percentage of that?
I think
structure?
so that we get it right, and for the benefit of all of us, when did the variation came in?
At the second.
Is it during
On
the
the
second,
second-
phase?
On the
Yes.
second phase.
That is when the variation came in.
Yes, Chair. On
And the
67
contract
million.
sum was 67 million.
Yes, so
So I think
percentage-
now let us now interrogate on those lines.
the percentage is 23%, Chair, as requested by member. 23%.
Now, you said it is 23. I'm still on you, Wasiri. At any given point when that variation was there, did you, because if you read in Act 108.3, it stated that the county treasurer shall also provide a report to the county assembly regarding any deviation or implication that include the reports. So my area of concern that after you got this variation, did you inform this house as per the act?
Chair, we are not obligated to provide on operational basis matters of variations on operational basis. The law already provides the thresholds for doing that variation. The reporting that we do to this county assembly is wholesome in terms of like quarterly implementation and status like that, but not really on the nitty-gritties on the day-to-day operations of the departments.
I think that issue can be answered
Chair.
perfectly by the head of supply chain.
Chair, I think as the head of supply chain answer that particular question. At what stage of variation, at what stage of contract period did you make some variation? And for purposes of record, Wasiri, you sit in this house. Any variation that you make, not as wholesome, you can do variation even before approval. But thereafter, this house should be notified of any variation. Are you aware of it? You are saying, you know, any variation should be, you can carry on with it, but you must notify after. You must notify this house of any variation done.
Yes, and Chair, that's why I said, not on isolated cases, but wholesomely through quarterly and other reports. I think that is what I meant.
And has there been any quarterly report? You are saying now through quarterly report. Has there been any quarterly report to this House?
I think, Chair, that's a matter we prosecuted last time, really. It's only fair that we
Thank
report.
you. Bwana Tirop, at what stage on the contract period did you carry out, or rather, did some variations?
Okay, thank you, Chair. So
Now, bearing in mind that this is a mega project,
okay.
yeah.
So on the particular contract, you've said it's on the phase 2, and the process of variation is done through the contract implementation team of the department, where the technical people look at the design of the project, and should there be anything that is outstanding then that will not make the phase complete, they are within the law allowed to make request for variation, and that is what happened in that phase. So it is during the implementation of the project that the variation is done. So I think that is what happened in the case of phase 2 of the building.
So did you notify this House on those variations? After?
I would say what the law, the mandates within the procurement law gives my office to make the reports to Public Procurement Regulatory Authority. I have not read anywhere that demands to this House, but as Waziri has said, through the implementation.
You are not aware of any law, whether PFM, whether County Government Act, whether Public Procurement Act, that says this House, the County Assembly, should be notified of the same? You are not aware?
Honorable Chair, I have said I want to mention what the law says under the procurement law in terms of variation of contracts. And it says that the authority, which is the Public Procurement Regulatory Authority, be informed where there is a variation. And that is the portion of the law that I have brought to your attention, Chair.
So for your information, where you sit,
yes,
you are not also aware that in as much as you should notify the Public Procurement and Disposal Act, the same should be notified to this County Assembly. You have no idea?
Yeah, as responded by Waziri.
Say that yes or no. If you have no idea, say I have no idea.
I'm not saying I have no idea. It is collectively through the county treasury. It is through the reports collectively for the entire county in the implementation reports that is compiled by CCM Finance and Economic Planning.
Whereby, so thank you. I've got
Chair, in conjunction with what Honorable Bet is asking, I would want to know from procurement, because if you look at the same PQ that there was a variation, we had what we call contingencies. And some of us, we know contingencies is for some unforeseen works. So can you take us between the two? When did you consume this contingent sum that it was lumped for unforeseen job or unforeseen works? Then thereafter, you do also variation. Could you take us between the two so that we can read from the same page?
Chair, if you allow us, as he prepares to take that, there's that matter that is being debated here on the variations. The Section 139 of the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act provides when to vary, what to do during variation, and who to report to. And particularly 139.4D, 139.6 specifies that where variation results in an increment of the contract price, 5, an accounting officer of a procuring entity shall submit a quarterly report to their varied or amended procurement contracts to the authority. And the authority that is defined in this act is the Public Procurement and Regulatory Authority. And that is why then for us it comes through the implementation reports. Thank you.
Chair, let it come very clearly from the witness. At which point, because we know we are dealing with approval estimates. So in this case, after you have budgeted for a project or an item like that, here is an budgeted amount that it has to come to this Honorable House. At which point, that is why when you say now, maybe one of the entities that you are supposed to inform,
I think, Chair,
it is one of this House.
The issue of variation does not necessarily mean that there is an adjustment in terms of budgetary allocation. The design of a contract is such that we have other provisions. For example, we have what we call contingencies, what members hinted to. We have provisional sums. And in case then you have hit the limit for that contract, then you have to vary, but bring forth for a supplementary budget during a supplementary budget, or for another budget cycle for it to be captured, or if the contract, the awarded sum was less than what was budgeted, then it will still be within that, it will still be accommodated. So when it bursts, then you come back to the county assembly for reallocation through another budget cycle, whether it's a supplementary or another phase altogether, another budget cycle altogether. So we cannot vary if we do not have, you can vary, yes, but you cannot award for those variations if there is no budgetary provision in there.
Honorable Chairman, maybe it's important for the...
Maybe before I allow you, let us have Mr. Bitok has been waiting long on the mic. And then Honorable Trufosa.
I was waiting for protocol, so... Chair, through the chair, we have understood, or the CC and the procurement chain has told us about the variation that they are waiting for supplementary. Then for paid works or paid contracts, do we have retention money? And if we have, when are we able to identify or see what the work that this retention money does?
So that you answer both questions, let me allow Honorable Trufosa.
Thank you, Chair. I have several questions. And the first question is in page 26. And that one is an item called the Kemelo Elder Center. The money allocated is 3.2.
I think Honorable Trufosa allow us to do away with this item of the NCC so that we don't go back and forth.
I thought maybe you are done because...
No, it is not yet done.
So
the NCC issue has not been...
Okay, do with it. I will come with my question later on.
Okay. So Honorable Tololei.
Yeah, there's something.
I think we were waiting for Wasiri to respond who is the owner of that NCC. I think he has not given us that answer. One was who is the owner currently.
Okay, together with that, there's an issue of retention money. As for the retentions, it is provided by law for works that include constructions. You have to retain 1%. 10% for purposes of what we call defects liability. And that period is a period of 6 months. If after that period you are able to confirm that there are no defects within the works that have been done, then you release that money to the contractor, to the service provider. As for the NCC, the specific question is who owns? I think that centers around the model of operationalization of that program, of that project. From where we sit, we are facilitated the doing of the works. The department is in charge of the model of operationalization. Once the model comes up as to the ownership, then it will be subject of discussion within the County Executive Committee and approval by the County Assembly, and that will come up. But as of now, from the funding model, who has put money in it is the one who owns. So who has put the money in this is the county government of Nandi. Even all other funds that came from the donor-funded programs come through the county government, running down to the people of Nandi, but as a custodian, the county government is a custodian, unless there's another.
Honorable Chairman, maybe the witness can just be very categorical and brief. Who is the owner of NCC?
I have explained myself.
Don't
Chair.
explain.
I have explained.
Just give the owner.
To the best of my knowledge, that's how I can explain it.
Who is the owner? And in any case, you are the custodian of the assets of the county.
Yes, it is the county government.
So who is the owner? Just for the record.
The county government.
Okay. And may I ask, Chairman, now that I have an opportunity, and I am asking, because these are planning department, maybe you could you just tell us, when did this become a mega project? Was it a mega project from the beginning, or it morphed into a mega project?
It is, and the issue of mega again, Chair, is relative. But in the CIDP, County Integrated Development Plan, a number of flagship projects have been captured in it, which is actually the wishes or what the people of Nandi would want for them for the next 5 years. So from the onset, from being captured at the CIDP level, that is where you can identify it, and that's where it emanated.
Are you able to lead us to the place in the, you know, when you think about the CIDP, and I've seen that in the 17-18, there was an indication there that probably cost 500 million. But I would like to know, in planning, even when you are advertising for 19 million, were you already looking at it as a phase one? And then you identified that there was a phase two. Was it already known from the beginning, or it happened to you because you are planning? You planners.
No, okay, Chair. Now I get the point. This was a first project. I think that is what it meant. This was a first project, and that's why we have phase one, phase two, phase three.
Do you have the concept for it?
Within the department, they can provide that.
No, I'm not talking about the department. We are talking about you. You are in charge of planning. Is there any other department that is in charge of planning for the county? Maybe is there any other department?
You know, we coordinate what projects, what department.
No. You have a role for planning, don't you?
We do, but we cannot plan.
Economic planning.
Chair, the witness should respond through the chair. They are engaging.
Yeah, through the chair, we do have a planning function, but what do we plan? We plan, we coordinate what the departments have proposed. We coordinate. What can we plan within ourselves that doesn't emanate from the department, honestly?
So are you saying that all the departments have competency for planning other than economic planning? The economic planning is domiciled where?
It is in finance, county treasury.
You are the one.
But the departments are.
Okay, let's leave that. Let's leave that. So when you think about these contracts, the 19 and then you come all the way down, is it the same contract? Was it the same works?
The same
okay,
works.
did we have different contractors?
I mean, the same project, different works.
I'm asking you, you said 19. Maybe
Yes.
the head of
Yes,
procurement,
19 million.
there was a 19 million. So when you advertise that, who won the tender?
Okay, thank you.
Chair.
Through the chair.
As he responds, because he had asked whether there is anywhere in the law that says variation should be supplied to this House, Chair. I want to draw your attention to section 164 of the PFM Act. And if you allow, Chair, let me take just a minute to read 164 PFM Act. And I want this to get into your heart, head of supply chain. On matters to do with the law, you don't read the procurement in isolation with other guiding principles. So 164.1 says, at the end of each financial year, the accounting officer for a county government entity shall prepare financial statement in respect of the entity in format to be prescribed by the Accounting Standards Board. The accounting officer shall include the financial statement, appropriation account showing the services for which the appropriated money was spent, 2, the amount actually spent on each service, and 3, the status of each vote as compared with the appropriation for the vote, and 4, listen this very carefully, a statement explaining any variations between the actual expenditure and the sum voted. Any variation. So head of supply chain, now that you are saying you are not aware, any variation
Chair,
should be fixed.
The reporting that is read by the member is the reporting for financial statements, which we have supplied to the assembly, which we have supplied to the authorities. At the end of the year,
Chair.
those let me finish.
Chair.
Those rows indicate.
I have not asked the CEC any question to that effect. And if you are to respond, have you been supplying any variation for the last financial year to this house? Have you supplied?
Let me explain to you, Chair.
Not explaining, have you been supplying?
Yes.
Where is that evident?
It is in the financial statements, and we can check them. And there is a column that shows variation from the budget.
When did you supply?
Yes, we are talking about different things here.
When did you supply?
You can check in the
I
files,
think,
Chair.
honorable members,
Check in the files.
let me first guide on
Chair,
this issue.
you know, Chair.
We need a section, you are reading a section of the PFM Act. Yeah.
And it is
And
talking about the
order Waziri.
Yes, thank you, Chair.
And the issue that I was waiting, or we are waiting, honorable member, is to give us that sections that says the county assembly should be notified on the variations.
You know, Honorable Chair, that's why earlier on I'd asked the CEC whether he has applied this. He said yes. Of course, we will, when we later on sit down, we will find out that it's for a fact that these explanations, they have not been forthcoming. And actually the thing that I would like to ask through the chair, have you approved all these variations? You as the CECM Finance.
I don't have to approve this. I don't know why we are struggling with the law here.
There is no struggle. There is no struggle. The law, Honorable Chairman.
That is why we have.
Let us allow Waziri to explain.
Chair, the provisions of variations are provided by the law. If there is a variation, there are two ways in which it can come up. One, it could be the use of the department that requires additional aspects that were not envisaged earlier on. So the accounting officer makes the request to the contractor. Now that request then, the contractor quantifies what it is needed to do that and sends back to the chief or the accounting officer. The accounting officer appoints a committee who looks at it and approves. Upon their recommendation and minuted, they back to the accounting officer. The accounting officer then approves that variation. If they still have a budget, they execute. If they don't have, they get back to us. And if we have, we reallocate and bring back to the county assembly for purposes of approval of supplementary budget. Another instance, if...
Honorable Chair,
Let me finish. That is from the user. Another instance is from the contractor himself. Upon doing the works, considers that I am exceeding, I am yet to complete these BQs. But I have spent more than is required. There are other additional works that were not there. Puts it in writing, right to the accounting officer. The accounting officer appoints a committee. They consider it, they amend it back to the accounting officer for approval. So it can only come to us if there's a budgetary requirement of it. Or if there's a technical input that we require to do our supply chain.
Honorable Chairman, isn't this what we are saying? That all the variations that we have discussed, actually, Chairman, we have not discussed the variations of time and others. We have limited ourselves so much because those ones are also of fairly significant. They should attract our attention, but we've used money. It's just the budgetary. Are you saying that a CEO, a chief officer, can vary the budget by so much without your attention?
That's what I'm saying.
Are you saying that?
That is not what I'm saying, Chair.
Did you approve the variations, like for NCC?
They were approved within the budget by the county assembly, not myself.
I mean, the variations when they were done initially, before they were sent out to the PPRA, did you approve them?
I have said it is not.
So you did not. Maybe it's okay.
I
now
didn't,
tell us about this. Tell us about this. Who won the tender? Is it the same individual for all the phases?
Which contract, Chair? Yes.
NCC. We are talking about NCC.
I mentioned earlier that Miliki is a contractor that won the tender for the building works.
Entirely?
Yes.
So every time when you did a tender, they won?
That is as per the...
No, because you've treated them as different.
Not...
You are saying phase 1 is different. So when you came to phase 2, Miliki won. When you came to phase 3, they still won. Is that what you are saying?
May I put on record that?
Is that your evidence? That every time when you floated the tender, Miliki won 3 times?
Yeah, I think it would be fair to give the witness to reply because...
Okay, thank you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to respond. So, as indicated earlier, the tenders were competitively advertised. So let me finish. And in the phase 1, it is open to and it is on the papers, in the dailies, circulated in the dailies. So in each of the phases, all the contracts were advertised, Chair, and the contractor and it is pretty obvious that whoever was eligible as per the tender documents to bid was allowed. No one was prohibited. So I confirm, yes, that the phases were competitively advertised, and the bidder who won is the company Miliki that we have mentioned. Thank you.
Maybe in conjunction.
So that we do away with these issues. The contract, the head of supply chain. So you are confirming that all the 3 phases were advertised, and Miliki won all the 3 phases?
Yes, that's what I'm confirming.
So maybe what I will direct is that you give us all the 3 adverts and attach them with the companies that applied for the 3 phases.
Much obliged.
And as a final question, Chairman, I would like to ask did you, at the initial stage when you started with 19 million, so we can consider that to have been a one-off? Is it your evidence that that was a one-off, or it was supposed to be a continuous, that project?
As I have said, Chair, we receive bills of quantities.
Was it a one-off?
Yes. So when we get an advertised tender,
I am happy if you say it was a one-off.
Yes.
It was a one-off, yes. According to you. Even the 67 was independent.
Yes, as a phase.
And the rest were independent.
Yes.
And since you're CEO of planning and you were there at that time, did you have any documents that guided you? Was there something that guided you to the end game? Chief.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Member, through the Chair. As earlier indicated, this is one of the flagship projects identified during the planning period, 2017-2022.
I have a simple question. Do you have documents? That's all.
I would wish to give the
No, don't give any background. Do you have documents?
It is good to give the background, Honorable Member, for us to understand and appreciate. Having been identified as one of the...
I rest my case, Chairman.
Maybe
she doesn't have documents.
Okay.
We have the concept document that has the whole concept as a flagship document. Thank you.
Maybe, Chair, through you.
Maybe I will be unfair to Tarbey and Honorable. Let me first give them first, because
a conjunction
they have
question.
been patient for too long.
Yeah, thank you, Chair.
Please allow them.
Chair, my question is for the procurement officer. I want to take me through as a layman of how a project is initiated in a county and now the procurement process until the tender is awarded. Assuming maybe I get elected as a governor someday and I want to initiate a project. What is the process?
Okay, thank you, Chair. So what happens is that we work from the planning documents as we have discussed earlier here. And that is from the CIDP, then we come to the budgeting, and then we come to the procurement plans. And all those documents up to the budget is approved in this house. Upon approval of the budget, then the departments go and work out their work plans, which is then translated into the procurement plan that now gives priorities in terms of the quotas under which these works can be done. Because ordinarily, you can't wake up and advertise all the jobs because not all the resources are available. So what happens upon approval of the plan, then the accounting officer, who is the chief officer of the department, initiates through a requisition specifying the details of the request. That is under section 60 of the Act, giving specifics of what it is. If it is a project like what we've discussed, then they put together in a bill of quantities with specific requirements. That is
who develops the bill of quantities? The
technical department. The Act says the user department. If it is roads, the roads. If it's water, the water. So that is done under the leadership of the accounting officer. So once that is done, it is then approved at multiple levels. One at the departmental level. Within our county, we have a workflow where that is verified at the budget level, and there is a document that is a requisition that is then approved.
Now, maybe as you continue, assuming I want to construct a library, who will design the library for me? Assuming we do a public participation in Kapsabet, the residents of Kapsabet comes for the public participation and they say we want to construct a library.
So the user departments, through Honorable Chair, they have common technical services that are provided. For instance, if it's a library, like you said, they need the services of the public works. Then they make that request to public works. The account, I think, that within our county, that's under the Department of Transport, Public Works and Infrastructure. Then they develop the bills of quantities, because not all departments have the technical experts to provide the bills of quantities. That once it is approved by the technical person, then it is forwarded to the accounting officer for approval.
Before the approval, does the county have maybe a common, maybe now you are talking of the technicians, do you have a common maybe engineer or something, or what happens in this case?
Yes, through Honorable Chair, we have public works is a pool under Ministry of Transport, Public Works and Infrastructure. Those are the ones who provide the technical expertise where bills of quantities are required.
In other words, now the design of this library will design it now?
It will be designed by the technical expert under the guidance of the department. If it is a library, I don't know, I think a library is already devolved now under the Ministry of I think Youth and Sports. So the Chief Officer Sports will say, I have within the budget 3 million. Could you design for me a bill of quantity for a library of this capacity? That is why I said the Act specifically says under Section 60, specific requirements shall be coordinated by the accounting officer. But the accounting officer is not technical, so it relies on the technical experts.
So for this case, for me, like in person, when I want to build my own house, I consult an engineer who sells me the plan for the house. So in this case, if a design has been made, is the county paying for the same design, or it's just now that who is paid in this case?
Honorable, through the Member Honorable, through the Chair, the function of public works is within the Department of Transport and Infrastructure. Actually, there is even the title Public Works. So those are staff that ordinarily would provide that service as employees of the county. So I'm not aware of any payment that needs to be done to that effect.
Okay, then my question is, KCRH, we have the beautiful mother and baby, the hospital, who was paid now for the design.
I will confirm that had a different design.
Chair, I think...
yeah, please allow the member just to do it.
Allow Tarbay to finish. Yeah?
You are the head of procurement. Now, when you go outside there, you see a beautiful design. Who designed it? And who was paid for the same?
That open tender was very clear. It had
Chair,
design.
point of order, Chair.
Yes.
I thought we had agreed we will deal first with the NCC and then we can, because we also have, when we will be prosecuting this sort of mother and baby, is when we will raise the same. That is why, that is my concern, point of order.
So I think the Honorable Member Tarbay, now that the mother and baby is an item in our discussion, can you refer that to the next discussion?
So, Chair, only so that I know we are about to, you are almost to conclude on the NCC. We wanted to know of timeline for that NCPP contract. Was there a period for that contract? Maybe also as the...
Okay, maybe the head of supply chain, the issue here is what was the life cycle for that NCC? And we have Honorable Bet from Capital Kamoyo. You had some concerns?
Yeah, I had some concerns, but Chair, my question is different. Kindly let us finish the issue of NDCU.
If the issue is different.
So we are waiting for that, Chair. Let the witness confirm the time and whether we are still in that timeline for that NCPP. Thank you, Chair.
Head of supply chain, what was the life cycle for that project, NCC?
All right, thank you, Chair. Each phase in the building works was done in different financial years. Phase 1 was done in the year 2017-2018. So that had its own time, and the contract lapsed and the contract was closed. Phase 2, which had a variation, had an extension of contract under the financial year that it was advertised. And the phase 3, which is currently one that is running, confirmed that the contract is still running for the contractor who is on site. And the completion works is what, until a practical completion certificate is issued, that is when we will call the contract as concluded. So that is the status of each of the contracts.
So what was the anticipated time for it to be completed and operationalized? What was the anticipated time? I think that is what the honorable members are concerned.
I think, Honorable Chair, I have mentioned that the first two already have been overrun because they are close contracts. In the current phase is the one that was anticipated to be done, I think, by closure of the financial year, but the extensions were done and approved at the departmental level because of operationalization issues that were outstanding.
So if the contract extension have been done, when is it lapsing?
Within the variation law under Section 139, you can either do an amendment that is of the time or a variation of the amount. So
no,
in this
I'm
case,
talking of the current one that is running. When is
in this case, we don't have...
When is it lapsing?
I'd have to confirm, Chair, the exact date. I don't have it with me here.
Okay, Honorable
Chair.
Vice.
Okay.
Okay. Or we have Tolole and then we have Mheshimiwa.
Mine is just in conjunction with what you are asking our witness here. You had projected this, what was the projection? Had you, what time really exactly were you wishing that this project would operationalize?
Honorable Chair, I think in all fairness, at the technical level where I am, we are guided by the authors of the project, which is the department. I think it is in fair ask that the chief officer and the leadership of agriculture would have better given an answer on that, because it is them who design, we offer them the support services in terms of should there have been any outstanding issues, then we process amendment of the contract or variation of contract.
So thank you. We can rest that. Let's go to industrial park.
Okay. No, we have a concern by Honorable Sarah.
The Chair, may I ask you this question? So I've seen that construction and supply of equipment were running concurrently. So at times there are some equipment that was supplied to that project, and some of the equipment, especially the machines. So it is under whoever was supplying for a certain time or period so that they are tested whether they are operational. So are they still within that time? Because these projects has taken long and the supply of equipment was done. So in case they will be tested and they will not be operational, who will be in charge?
Okay, thank you. Through Chair. You may be aware that the project was of a complex nature because the equipment had to be brought in from outside the country. And therefore, in the department, they forwarded their request for both the construction and the supply of equipment so that they both go in concurrently. Each contract is separate and each has its own contract terms and conditions. The equipment supplier has up to testing and commissioning to be cleared, and that is the phase that has not been done because there were other outstanding issues as been earlier indicated by our CCM. So only until when it has been tested shall the contractor be cleared. And that is reflected in the submission of payments by the status of payments by our CCM.
Still on, what is the capacity now? The milk that is required now to make that to make it operational.
I honestly not technical, but I'd have to confirm that from the records of the equipment that was supplied.
About that, it will be okay, it will be complete, and there is no milk. Will there be value of money there?
I think the concept that was mentioned by Chief Officer is within the department, and I think they are the ones to prove their case, and I think it must have been well thought out by the time the project was conceptualized. So I will honestly request that that be addressed either at CCM level, at cabinet level, or at the departmental level. But at technical level, the feasibility must have been done, and that should be at the cabinet level.
So now that the farmers, the dairy farmers of Nandi County are really waiting for it to take off. So as a Department of Finance, tell something. Can you tell something to those farmers who are waiting? Because if you talk of technical issues, the farmers don't know. What they know is to it to be operational and the milk to be supplied there.
Thank you, Chair. First of all, the program is centered towards farmers, really. And it has to be there for farmers to see the value and start producing milk, or rather start selling milk to it. So from our point of view, the project is ready, is almost ready for commissioning. And I think very soon value for money for that project will be seen by our farmers. What is important then is to farmers to be patriotic enough to use a facility that has been done by the county, their own county. Because we know farmers there is a free market. You can sell to any other processor of milk. But this is a project that has been done within the county. They should benefit from it. And I think as the model is being rolled, there should be a way of encouraging farmers by way of even pricing, so that farmers can utilize our facility. But what I know from our point of view, and a number of us passed by there when they were going home, you have seen the facility. It is there, it's available. I think in future then it might only need expansion of the space around there, but it is going to be very helpful for the farmers in this county going forward, like any other flagship project that we have done.
Okay. Honorable members, I wish to bring to an end the issue on NCC. Let us
Can I
go
just
to
ask one question, Chairman? Because he's a planning, he's in charge of planning. Maybe you can tell this committee. I've heard you saying, just probably, do you have a plan for this, for that plant?
What plan, Chair?
As a government, is there anything you can tell us here? We have this.
Be specific, honorable member.
A plan for how to go forward.
Going forward.
I mean, do you have a plan? The question, I have asked a question.
Yes, I can speak to two aspects, Chair.
I didn't ask you to explain. I've just said, does the county government of Nandi have a plan?
Yes, it does.
What is it? And could you share with us? Maybe you can share with this committee. That is all. If you have it,
plan,
please share with us. You confirm that it is there?
As in a document?
Yes.
Yes, I'm sure we can get from the department. But I thought it would be wise also to say...
Actually, Chairman, I am getting the impression, are these officers telling us that they are conveyor belts? I've heard the head of supply chain. Is there any reason why you are there?
No,
because whenever I've heard you explaining something, it's as if you just take things from the others and do them.
No, Chair,
without any question.
We are not conveyor belts. That is unfair.
So if you are not a conveyor belt, do you know whether do you have a plan? Do you plan something?
We are the terminal.
And remember, you are the head of county treasury. And if we could read to you the powers you have, even including going into any office,
honorable member,
and then checking the enforcement.
Honorable member, there is a term that you have used that it is seen as it is not friendly to the team. The term conveyor belt.
And actually, Chair, we are the terminal. Where do we convey after treasury? Where else do you convey? It's a terminal like yours.
So that term, I think you withdraw that term.
Now that you have allowed them to explain, Chairman.
They have said they are the terminal department, so they don't convey to any
But they don't seem to determine anything. They are just sitting somewhere and doing whatever they are given.
The problem, Chair, is that the member doesn't allow us to explain. I think it's only fair then that you listen.
Yes.
Okay, I rest my case. So if they are not conveyor belt, I withdraw this term.
Yes.
Can they then show us that at least they are actively involved?
Maybe so that you respond on both issues, Waziri, let us take the concern from Mheshimiwa Mosbey.
Yeah, Chair, my question is, it's about the plan. That now that we've sunk quite substantial amount to that project, the question actually here is, because we intend to have farmers who are going to supply milk there and benefit from the project. What plans are there? Now that the project has run for almost 7 years or 5 years or thereabout, do we have now those animals, those cows, that are going to, have the farmers been facilitated to develop, say, the dairy cows that will be able to supply? The Nandi farmers I'm talking about. Or we are ending there now. We've seen Milikis and all the other companies, they've really gotten some good money. But how will the farmer of Nandi benefit from this project? What has Waziri planned?
Thank you, Chair.
So that it doesn't become a white elephant.
Thank you, Chair. I want to say this. Allow me, Chair, to say this very briefly.
You, Waziri, but I want to say that after Waziri explains the two concerns by the honorable member, I would like to adjourn the session for lunch, because I'm seeing that this session will go up to the night. So let us have a break for lunch, and then we refresh ourselves to come and sit for more hours. We are not even at 10% of what we should cover, by the way.
Chair, I want to say this, and the members of this county assembly, including this committee, are aware that there is a plan by the government of the day, which is called the plan, the Bottom-Up Economic Transformation Agenda. And the government has identified a number of 13 value chain lines. As the department in charge of planning, we were taken through by the Ministry of the National Treasury and the President Council on Economic Planning to ensure that we marry our plans in the county government and those of the government of the day. One of the aspects that Nandi County is running with in value chain is dairy production, among coffee, among avocado and others. And we aligned it in the budget, which was approved by this county assembly. Now that the programs around that under dairy was one, to build a plant, and two, to encourage production. And through the programs of NARIC, through the programs of NAF-CDP, and other departmental programs, farmers are being empowered to do production. We have the subsidized AI service that Nandi County is offering to our farmers. This is tailored towards ensuring that we are able to produce dairy livestock who are potentially high to give us milk for the plant. And all this is to ensure that at least Mwananchi has money in the pocket. You have seen the demonstrations that have been done in our ATC. Last year, and even this year during that national food, this is actually International Food Day. All these are aspects that are meant towards ensuring that farmers are able to produce along various value chains, dairy included, and to make sure that our plant is able to operate at optimum and to serve our farmers. At the county executive level, there are two discussions being undertaken now, championed by the CC member in charge of agriculture and cooperative development. One is on the model of operating the plant. And once that model is clear to the county executive committee, it will come here to the county assembly for approval. We are considering options of incorporating the farmers into this. Those are items that will still be discussed and even through public participation. And the members of county assembly will champion that, particularly those of us who come from the zones where milk is produced. And it is the entire Nandi. You saw the issue of what national government was championing the other time for milk coolers. That milk coolers were being placed in every ward. I was seated as a member of county assembly then. And the question we were asking ourselves is, do we need even a milk cooling plant in my area, for example, where I come from, where we don't have a lot of dairy cows? And then the concept was, let's have it, then let's sell the idea to the farmers because of the issue of the need for diversification in production. And yes, we have a plan as a county, and it is not as a county executive alone, up to and including the county assembly. It is our whole plan. It's our concerted effort as the members of the executive and the members of the county assembly to ensure that all our projects that are being done are able to serve our members. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you, honorable members. Honorable members, considering the issues ahead of us, I would like to adjourn the session so that we refresh ourselves for lunch, and then we come back at exactly 2, so that we proceed. So maybe I will request the sergeant to usher Waziri and the team. So at exactly 2, we shall be back. Okay, honorable members, let us have a proposer and a seconder.
I, Julius Keter, to propose for an adjournment.
I do second.
Thank you, honorable members. The session stands adjourned until 2 p.m.